So walking over towards my bed, I started rustling through the bags that Damien had left there. What in the world? My voice meandered off as I picked up the expensive-looking items out of the bag one by one. He brought me a lot more than just medicine. As I laid everything out on the bed and opened up the bottle of medicine and took a sip, I let my eyes travel over all of the gifts he had given me. Hearing a tapping sound on my door, my attention snapped away from the bed and scrunched up my nose. Damien, that better not be you. The door slowly opened and Aaron popped his head in with a sheepish smile on his face.
No, it's just me. May I come in?
Relaxing the muscles that had tensed up, gearing up for another fight, I waved him in while sitting on the bed and taking another sip of the medicine. Even though it tasted disgusting, I could already feel its effects as my nose and the pressure in my head started to clear up. Aaron walked up to the side of the bed and let out a low whistle as his eyes trailed over to all the gifts laid out.
What's all this stuff? Did he propose to you or something?
I saw a hint of sadness in his eyes while he tried to make light of the situation. No, apparently all of this is just gifts from one friend to another. I spat those last words out bitterly while starting to chug down more of the medicine out of aggravation.
Wait. He said that he wanted to be friends.
Yep, apparently I was overanalyzing things and he only saw me as a friend. The idiot. If he didn't like me from the get-go, then why? I let my words wander off as I felt myself getting emotional. I was never one to let myself cry in front of others because of stupid drama, but for some reason the situation was really getting to me. I could feel Aaron's eyes on me as he stood there quietly. Setting the empty bottle of medicine on the floor, I laid back on the bed and covered my face with my arms. With a sigh, I could feel Aaron sit down next to me.
He's just being indecisive, Acacia. It's pretty obvious after seeing him get so hostile when he saw me touching you, and on top of all that, look at all this. He did all of this for a reason, even if he isn't ready to admit it to himself just yet.
Well, I'm finished with him anyways.
No, you're not.
It felt strange how quick Aaron was able to see through my bluff. My mind revisited the thought of how things might have turned out had I fallen for him instead. With a heavy sigh, I sat up and turned my head towards him. Well, I'm not about to chase him and force him to realize all of that.
You're right. That's actually a more effective way to fix this situation.
Which is?
Ignore him. Go ahead and stay at the ball, but leave him alone. I've seen how you've always given him your attention whenever he comes around.
I did not. I've ignored him plenty of times, but then he'd do something stupid that would piss me off so... Pointing his finger right in my face, he shook his head.
See, right there? He's always been able to get your attention or a reaction out of you, whether good or bad. So what you need to do is make him think that he's finally lost that effect on you. You need to make him feel like he's lost you. Then that will make him come over to you and give you the attention instead.
And if that doesn't work?
Then he wasn't worth your time to begin with and didn't care enough about you to be affected by your sudden change of mood.
Closing my eyes, I laid back on the bed, trying to turn the whole situation over in my mind. I suppose that could work. I'm getting tired of this game of tag, and besides, it's not like it's the end of the world if I have to wait another year to finally have my own happily ever after.
Who says that you can't still have one?
My eyes shot open when I felt his hand grab hold of mine. Turning to look over at him, I saw a sincere look in his eyes.
Even though our beginning didn't really have that fairy tale feel to it.
He paused as if he was trying to pick his words carefully.
That doesn't mean our ending can't. That is, if you would accept me instead of him.
This isn't right. Scooting up, I pulled his hand away. I felt my heart tighten with guilt as the thought of me only using him to make Damien jealous. I'm not going to use you, even though I don't know a lot about you. You seem really nice, and you deserve better.
It's fine, Acacia. If it's for you, I don't mind.
Why would you do
really
that
should
for
mind.
me? Yeah, you really should. Why would you do that for me? Why let yourself get used? Shrugging his shoulders, he gave me a playful smile.
It's not totally only for you. I have a few reasons of my own for doing this.
Which is?
One, I want to see the look on his face when he sees us together at the ball.
Real mature.
And two, I couldn't just sit by and watch you leave without throwing my hat into the ring.
I sat quietly studying his face. His words were sincere, as was the look of determination that appeared on his face. Well, I don't plan on using you. I'm going to drop off the food and hide out somewhere until the ball ends, since I still have that stupid promise to keep.
That's fine. You actually don't have to do anything. I'll find you and do it all on my own, and then if he still doesn't realize the mistake he's making by letting you go...
Leaning forward, I saw his eyes studying my face as he reached his hand forward and brushed his thumb gently across my cheek.
Maybe I can then steal your heart away from myself.
Seriously, what's with all the touchy-feely in this game?
Yeah, come on. Leave her alone.
Yeah. My eyes darted away nervously. I've never gotten such a direct confession like that before. You hardly even know me.
It doesn't take the heart long enough to know what it wants when it sees it. If you pick me, then we'll have the rest of our lives to learn more about each other. I know you're still going to hide from me at the ball, but I'll still find you.
After that, he left the room, closing the door softly behind him. Even though his offer was tempting, I didn't have the heart to do that to someone. I'll figure this out on my own.
Why did you bake so many?
Quit your belly aching and keep moving. I need to find a spot to hide so I can think. Alakwa had offered to help me carry in the 12 dozen pastries the queen had commissioned me to bake, but from the moment we left the shop until we had arrived in the castle, she just whined and complained about how heavy they were.
My arms hurt.
I turned around to face her and used my free hand to snatch away the 3 baskets she was carrying. If you want something done right, you had just better do it yourself. Go home if you're going to whine, Alakwa.
Why?
I bit my lip and narrowed my eyes at her. All of the irritation and frustration from earlier was starting to boil over. All you're doing is whining, and I don't want to hear it.
But I want to stay.
Then shut up. Some of the guests had started throwing cautious glances our way. Sheesh, it was like they'd never heard anyone yell before. What are you staring at? Glaring at them, I scrunched my nose and started to make my way towards the table. A large crowd of chattering girls stood in the way of the table. After a few failed attempts of trying to politely get their attention so they could move, I decided to try a more effective method. There were a few insulted yelps and screams as I used my hips to push my way through.
Watch where you're going, you ugly toad!
Shut up, you dirty old heifer.
We are not cows!
You could have fooled me. Step aside, heifer. The shrill voices grew louder as I continued towards the table. One thing that I had learned about the majority of the teenage girls in the Unicorn Nation is that their bark is worse than their bite.
Maybe you shouldn't talk like that when you're in the castle. People might think you have a bad attitude.
I've always had a bad attitude, and that isn't going to change. Setting the baskets down on the table, I scanned the area to find a spot I could sneak off to.
Yeah, but girls with bad attitudes turn off a lot of guys. You're never gonna get your fairy tale ending acting like that.
This is the only way I know how to act, Alakwa. I've got to be me. Seeing an open spot near the balcony banister, I beelined in that direction, Alakwa following close behind.
I'm just saying, sis. If all people ever see is the worst side of you, they aren't going to want to stick around to see the better side, and then you'll go unnoticed. Do you really want to become invisible like that?
Falling silent, I sat down on the cool stone and turned my attention to the view of the kingdom. After a few more minutes of silence, Alakwa let out a sigh and headed back through the crowd.
I'm only trying to help you, but whatever.
There were 2 choices I had. I could either change who I was for the chance that someone would notice me, or I could stay myself and become invisible. It's kind of hard to not get noticed when you're a big troll like me. Laughing to myself, I tried to shake off the sinking feeling that was grasping at my heart. Would no one be willing to give me a chance and see me for who I really was? Wouldn't someone be willing to love me even when I'm at my worst? I could feel the familiar sting of tears in my eyes. I blinked hard, trying to stop the tears from falling.
Is the seat taken?
My heart did a small flip when I heard a voice behind me, but when I saw who it was, I couldn't stop myself from feeling a small wave of disappointment. Who was it my heart was expecting? We already know that.
I see you've picked up the most secluded spot on the balcony.
Yeah, I guess so. With this heavy sigh, I turned around and rested my arms on the banister.
So are you ready to put our plan into action?
It's not our plan, it's yours, and I already told you no.
But I already said that I was okay with it.
Well, I'm not. It might be kind of rough around the edges, but I still have a heart. I don't like using someone like that. Not getting the picture, he grabbed hold of my arm and started to pull me up. The sadness that I was feeling quickly flipped to rage as he tugged me up. Are you deaf? I said no.
I know, but I really think this will work. All we have to do is be seen dancing together, and then...
I snatched my arm away and glared at him. Look, Aaron, I'm going to be nice and give you a warning. I'm not doing it, so you better drop it.
Are you seriously threatening me? In front of all of these people?
I couldn't care less about what any of these people think. I'll smack the fire out the back of your neck if you don't leave me alone.
That's not even possible.
It's just as possible as knocking someone's head off.
It may not be possible, but she's gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, she's gonna try to do it and probably succeed.
That's not possible either.
Your mother must have never threatened you much as a child, huh? As agitation built up in the pit of my stomach, I started to realize something new. It's really shocking how quickly your view towards someone can change when they start acting weird and clingy.
Acacia, I really don't think you want to turn me down.
Rolling my eyes, I turned back at him and focused instead on the stars. I turned my back on him. Every fiber of my being was on guard and ready to spring. My blood was boiling.
Just one dance.
Just as his hand moved back towards my arms and I balled my fist, the smell of cinnamon and spice drifted past my nose. My senses were thrown in a loop as my eyes darted around to find the source. I no longer cared about the fact that Aaron was firmly holding my arm and pulling me to my feet. I was in a total daze, my mind only focused on finding the scent.
Acacia?
I jumped, snapping my head towards the familiar voice. There Demeen stood, bathed in the cool light of the full moon. His eyes narrowed as he looked at Aaron's hand on my arm.
There he is, Acacia, let's...
With one smooth movement, I swung my arm around and punched him in the upper part of his stomach.
Nice.
I told you no. Go, Acacia. Hitting all the boys. Instead of hitting on, she's just hitting them. Without looking back, I made my way towards Demeen as if in a trance, like a moth to the faint glow of a candle. Then something quickly snapped me back to reality. One of the girls I had pushed aside earlier appeared at his side. She gave me an arrogant sidelong glance as she cooed over him.
I was looking for you. Are you going to ask me to dance?
My face twisted up in disgust as I watched her slide her arm around his arm, her hand up his arm. So the reason that he wanted me to come to the stupid ball was so that he could make me jealous? Or maybe so he could throw all the different girls that he attracts in my face?
I mean, that's basically what she's just doing to him, so...
Yeah.
No.
I mean, you guys are both kind of acting like children, so...
They really are. Just, please grow up.
Before he could start to flirt with her, I whirled around and stormed off towards the exit. I didn't want to see how much that small act had affected me. Or him to see how much that small act had affected me. Who was I kidding? He's never been serious with me, always just messing around. Muttering to myself, I made my way through the castle. I wasn't paying much attention to where I was going. All I knew was that I wanted to get far, far from here. After what seemed like half an hour of wandering around, I stopped to look around me. How did I get back here? It is a part of a castle, I guess. With a heavy sigh, I shook my head, trying to get rid of the thoughts running through my mind. Alak was right. Who'd want... My voice broke, and I couldn't finish my sentence. I was beyond hurt at this point. I've dealt with rejection before, but I was always kind of able to keep myself at a distance so that I wouldn't have to deal with this kind of pain. But with Demeen, for some reason, my pushing just brought him closer. It was as if every push from me caused 2 pulls from him. Why had I fallen so hard for this stupid golden prince? You're an idiot, Acacia. A downright fool.
Who is this person? I don't actually know who it is. Which voice am I doing?
I think it's Demean.
You're not the only one who's a fool.
I felt a warm arm suddenly wrap around my waist and pull me to a stop. The smell of cinnamon had already confirmed who was holding me back. What are you doing?
I'm sorry, Acacia.
His arms tightened around my waist, hugging me from behind. Demean, let me go. I didn't want to hear sorry. I didn't want to hear anything from him at this point. My vision blurred as tears began to well up in my eyes.
Please listen to me for a moment.
I'm warning you, let me go. You already told me that we were friends, and after seeing that heifer rub up on your arm and coo in your face like a monkey or something. The sound of his soft chuckle diffused some of the anger and hurt that had welled up inside of me, but I refused to be swept up in the moment again. Ramming my elbow into his stomach, I knew...
Stop hitting the guys!
I stepped forward and turned around to face him to put some much-needed space between us. You think this is funny? I think this is hilarious. But
it really is.
One moment I'd feel happy on cloud 9 because he makes me feel like I'm special, but the next moment he starts flirting with other girls. It's like he's pushing me off the cloud, and I kept crashing down right onto the cold, hard floor. What I don't understand is why.
Why what?
If you weren't interested in me, then why? Why did you buy me all of those things? Why did you get jealous? Why invite me here? And even now, why did you stop me? Anger and frustration were festering in my stomach. I wanted a clear answer as to why he did all that. I didn't want to hear that it was out of friendship. I could already hear my sister nagging, telling me not to ask a guy such direct questions, but I was pissed. If he didn't like it, he shouldn't have talked to me in the first place. I'd made up my mind. I wasn't going to lose myself just to get noticed in that special way by a guy I liked. I wanted answers, and I wanted them now.
At first, everything I did was spur of the moment, but...
Spur of the moment? My heart was ramming in my chest, and as I listened to those words come out of his mouth, my hand began to tingle, yearning for the sweet relieving sting from the impact of his face on my palm.
Please stop hitting people.
How could you...
I'm not done talking, Acacia.
His sudden outburst caused me to jump back a little.
Please, just hear me out. You can slap me around as much as you want afterwards.
That's sporting of him.
I suppose that's nice of him to be okay with it, I guess?
Yeah.
What? At first I only approached you because I was caught up in the moment, and for some weird reason it was fun watching you thrash around and yell like a madwoman over a little flower garden.
That wasn't just any little flower garden. My mom worked so hard on it, and all those little snot-nosed...
And that's exactly what made me notice you more.
What? My anger had completely drained away. I definitely hadn't expected him to say something like that.
You are rough and tough and downright crazy, but you have a really big heart. You're all mush on the inside, and the more I hung around you, the more I noticed it.
I'm not mushy on the inside.
One, you carry around a diary that you'd named The Chronicles of a Troll Princess.
How did you...
I saw you hide it in the willow tree, so I took it out and read it.
You did what?
See, right there, that shows how mushy and sensitive you really are. Your reactions were always so predictable. And the more I kept hanging around you and talking to you, the more you started getting under my skin. Before I knew it, you would crawl into my heart.
Taking a step... That sounds really creepy, actually.
It kind of does. She's not a worm.
I was thinking like not a spider, but a spider human troll thing, like trying to burrow into his heart.
That's a very disturbing image.
Yes. Taking a step towards me, he gently brushed a strand of hair that had fallen loose out of my face.
You made me feel special. When everyone else was just busy judging and avoiding you, I was fortunate enough to see the side of you that you didn't show to anyone else.
You took her diary.
You did? Why would you take her diary?
And admit to it. Why would you admit to it? You're gonna get punched.
Yeah, but at least he'll get punched for, like, a decent reason, as opposed to just her being angry. Like, you don't read someone's diary, just don't.
Yeah.
That's just one of the traits that made me fall so hard for you.
Then why did you say all that stuff back at the house?
I was being stupid, and I was scared.
What could possibly scare a prince so much that it was his duty to piss off a troll on a daily basis?
Losing you?
Aww.
Aww. You already know the kind of reputation I have. All I've ever known was how to play the game. I've always gotten what I wanted, but with you... You were different. You made me want to know what it was like to actually feel something real. But I was afraid if I took a step in that direction, I would only end up going back to my old games. Then I would hurt you. I'd lose the relationship we'd built up in the process.
He closed his eyes and shook his head.
When I saw that moron with his crummy little fingers touching you, I almost lost it. I knew at that time there was no way I could just be friends with you and watch you in another man's arms. I kept trying to fool myself, like the idiot I am, but after seeing you again tonight...
Aww.
Aww. I've never seen anyone more breathtakingly beautiful. Even with all the hateful comments floating around you, you stood tall and stormed your way through the crowd, not caring what anyone thought. You've been true to yourself through and through.
He grabbed hold of one of my hands and came even closer. His breath gently brushed against my cheek as he leaned down towards my ear.
I love you, Acacia. Please accept this foolish man's proposal. Will you marry me?
With a bright flash, his free hand materialized a beautiful crystal rose out of thin air. I was at a loss for words. Was I really getting proposed to? Wait.
Finally.
Right? Wait, is this... Are you... But I just... He placed his finger gently on my lips and silenced me with a genuine smile.
You can point out all the bad qualities that you have, but I will keep on loving you through the good, the bad, and the ugly. My dad once told my mom something that I thought was extremely corny, but now, after today, I think I understand why he told her that.
I looked between him and the flower. Slowly I lifted my hands and gently wrapped my fingers around the delicate stem. Thank you. Then, for the first time in my life, I was swept up into a man's arms, bridal style. I couldn't help but let a big smile break across my lips as I bent over to hug him. I then felt a light tap on my shoulder.
Excuse me, dear, but does that mean yes?
Pulling away from him, I looked over my shoulder to see Queen Gentian, eyes sparkling with curiosity. When had she shown up? Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, I will marry him.
She said yes!
Whirling around, she yelled off towards a large crowd that suddenly jumped out from their hiding spots behind the pillars. Why hadn't I noticed that the whole ball was eavesdropping on us? Are you kidding me?
I'm telling Mom you're letting a boy hold you!
My face grew hot. I yelled at my sister, who was giggling next to a not-so-happy Aaron.
Whatever, it's not gonna last long anyways. I'll be waiting right here with open arms, Acacia. She's out of your league, man. Oh, don't get too cocky. You still have to win over her mother.
I watched as Demean's face dropped a little, and he snapped his attention back towards me.
Wait, have I even spoken to your mom yet?
I don't think so, but it should be fine. You were able to win me over, and we act almost exactly alike.
For some reason, that doesn't really comfort me.
Fine then, let's just call it off and... Grabbing a tighter hold on me, he shook his head.
I was just kidding. I'm sure the meeting with your mother will go fine, right?
Yeah.
You paused.
What? I had to breathe. There was no pause.
There was a definite pause.
Whatever you say. He leaned in with that usual playful smirk and placed his forehead against mine.
Are you ready for a happily ever after?
As ready as I'll ever be. Placing my hands on his cheeks, I smiled up at him and kissed the tip of his nose.
I love you, my grouchy little buttercup.
I love you too, you arrogant little prince. The end. Aww.
Oh, that was adorable!
S.K.Y Art and Designs. I hope you enjoyed my first finished NaNoWriMo story. Programming, artwork, and writing by S. Morishita of smorishita.com. Proofreading by Kiss of Death on Lemasoft forums, and I can't keep
Tara
up.
Hillstock. Backgrounds by S. Morishita.
Music from Stefano Targa, Zero Project, Ladson, Green John, Tuxin,
Tungsa Electronic Society, something. I'm not keeping up either.
Sound Owl Storm, powered by Renby.
It was done by a lot of really cool people.
Yeah.
They had very important jobs in making this lovely story come true.
Thank you for reading. For more information on this story or more updates, please visit my site at skyartdesigns.com. The end.
Aww, that was
really-
adorable.
Yeah.
Aww.
Apparently, we went on the wrong story path midway through the story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we met Edavine.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, there's a lot of random stuff that hadn't happened in the beginning that was, like, we didn't get a letter, and...
Oh, yeah, we didn't get the letter. That was why we were so confused when the letter turned up.
Yeah, so we went on the wrong path. We were supposed to go to the other thing and meet up with Damien again, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So we've missed some of the story, but in the end it all happened very happily.
It all
ever
worked
after.
out well.
Yes.
Yay, happy ever after.
So, let's see. Extras. There's a bonus, there's an Edavine CG gallery, a Damien CG gallery, credits, and music room.
Let's see what the bonus has.
Okay. Thank you for playing A Troll's Fairy Tale. This is a bonus section, so feel free to pick which bonus material that you would like to see. There's voting results and author notes and remarks. Would you like to read any of these?
I don't even know what the vote was.
On who's the most favorite character in the story.
Oh. I like all of them. They're all cool.
Okay. I'm all done then. Oh. So.
Oh, well.
My main thing is I don't like how the boys were all touchy-feely on her.
Yeah, that was kind of a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. But I guess it might be different in their society. Who knows? She didn't seem to like it, though.
Yeah. It's kind of good that she's the sort of character who'd, like, basically punch someone if she didn't want them touching her.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't like that she had to say no to people so much. Like, they should...
Yeah. They should learn, like, how to read the air and stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching. Do you have anything left to say, friend?
Thank you for inviting me on your channel again.
Yep.
I really enjoyed doing this.
I really enjoyed doing this too. With you, that is. So, I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.